Hi, I'm Geoff Calkins, sports columnist with the Commercial Appeal. This is Ron Tillery, the only beat writer the Memphis Grizzlies have ever had, and we are back with an update on the series. Ron, what was the best thing you saw from the Grizzlies last night?
Obviously the defense. I mean, it's been a defensive series, and the Grizzlies have gotten back to dominating on that side of the basketball just as they did in the first half or the first 50 games of the regular season. They've gotten healthy, Jeff, and Tony Allen is flying around and he's infectious. We talk a lot about that third quarter sequence when the Grizzlies forced a 24-second shot clock violation. Tony wasn't even on the court, but he was, because his energy leading up to that became contagious and infectious. So you had everybody flying around, and I just think they're no longer going through an identity crisis. When the Grizzlies aren't playing well, they have an identity crisis. They're taking a lot of jump shots. They're not playing together defensively. Now you're seeing the opposite. You're seeing them playing offensively through the post, and you're seeing them flying around defensively collectively. And so that was a long answer to your question. Well, but that's the encouraging thing. I'm not going to go to one individual. I just think they had to get back to playing well collectively, and that's what they've done.
The two guys, Mike Conley and Tony, both were question marks starting the series. Now they're more like exclamation points. Game one, it felt like they were there. They played well, Conley especially. It really felt like in game two, like like they're back.
Yeah.
Mike maybe played a few more minutes than Dave wanted him to play, but they felt like those are the guys we knew in the first half of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just seeing them show their toughness and then their just sheer will to compete. Mike Conley is not healthy, but he's motivated because this team is still trying to make a deep playoff run, and as he just said in practice today on Thursday, he thinks about every day about not making the All-Star team. It's not specifically about Damian Lillard, but the fact that he got left off. So, and then you look at Tony. Tony's been motivated by being first team all defense all season long. When he makes a play, he not only does the change of possession, he's reminding everybody I'm first team. So, it's still a motivated bunch. It's still a bunch that very much feeds off the chip on the shoulder and the underdog status.
The other good thing that happened was you had Courtney making shots, you had Vince making shots. Is that real? I mean, you've pounded in some of these videos. You've pounded Vince. You've done the idea of Vince Carter. The idea of Vince Carter was the reality of Vince Carter last night, and there was Courtney Lee knocking down threes. Is that real, or is that one night?
I don't want to sound negative. I think it's the bare minimum. I think it's what you should expect to get from those guys.
Right.
Quite honestly.
But we haven't been. And so to get the bare minimum changes what's possible for this team. If they're just doing that, it does change the perspective, doesn't it?
It's true, it does. But I guess I'm like every Grizzly fan watching this and who's watched the games, if that's from the last two games. You can't just get super excited about Vince Carter making 3 threes and Courtney Lee going for 18, because the reality of the situation is if they get in the second round and they play the Warriors, you are not going to run up and down and cast threes and beat the Warriors. You've got to have a Tony Allen mindset. They've got to be locked down defensively to advance in the next round.
You have been to Portland. Most of us have not.
Mm-hmm.
How hard is that a place to play? And is this done? Is it over?
It reminds me a lot of the old Utah Jazz Arena when they had Stockton Malone. It was very difficult to go there and play, but let's face it, the Grizzlies have gone there and made it look easy. I mean, they came out of the All-Star break, and the very first play was a lob dunk to Jeff Green, and then they just cruised to a victory. They've beaten the Blazers 6 straight times, 11 of 12. This seems like the Grizzlies owning Portland like San Antonio owned the Grizzlies.
Right.
And so they can't get caught up in that, obviously. The Grizzlies have to go there acting as if they're down 0-2. But this has been a very good road team, the Grizzlies. And they've played well against Portland, and that matchup favors the Grizzlies. I don't think they have any problem going up there to play.
All right. We'll be back with more later. Thanks very much for listening.